I'm ready to make a change.
I want to make more money.
I want to get healthy.
I want to start a business.
I want to spend more time with my family.
Welcome to day 3. Yesterday we talked about the fact that nothing can screw up your future like getting stuck in the past. Once you've processed the last 12 months, you're ready to experience your best year ever. So with that out of the way, let's turn to the future. In this session, I'm going to talk about how to take those vague aspirations and turn them into powerful, compelling goals. And we're going to do this by observing 4 practices. Practice number 1, write your goals down. Now here's what I mean by that. I mean you've got to get them down on paper so that you can express your intention and not just leave it rattling around in your head. There's real power in writing it down if you're going to make it happen. In fact, there's some research that was done by psychology professor Gail Matthews at Dominican University of California, where she shows that just writing down our goals can lead to significantly more success even if we don't have action plans. This is something I've known for years and have experienced personally, but I've got the research to back it up. It's even more powerful if you have an action plan, but just the very act of writing them down is the first step, the first practice that you need to observe to make these vague aspirations powerful goals. Practice number 2, write SMART goals. We talked about this a little bit in the pre-launch video, but now I want to go into depth. For your goals to be compelling and effective, they've got to meet this 5-fold criteria that the acronym SMART exemplifies. First of all, they have to be specific. And when I say specific, I mean identify exactly what you want to accomplish. A bad example is write a book. A better example, a good example, is write a book proposal for the Life Plan Manifesto, which is an example of a book project that I've been working on. That's something that's specific. Number 2 is make sure that your goals are measurable. In other words, you have to quantify the result. How else will you know if you've accomplished it or not unless it's quantified? So it's got to be measurable. Here's a bad example. Earn more this year than last. A better example is pick a number. Earn $25,000 more this year than last. For you, it may be $100,000 or $10, but it's got to be a number that's measurable. SMART goals are also actionable. This is the 3rd criteria. You've got to start with an action verb, not a to-be verb, but an action verb. Something like quit, run, finish, eliminate. Not an action verb or a to-be verb like am or be or have. A bad example, be more consistent in blogging. That's a to-be verb. You want an action verb like write 2 blog posts a week. That's not only specific and measurable, but it's actionable. It's something you can actually do. 4th criteria, the SMART goals are also realistic. That's number 4. You've got to be able to step out of your comfort zone, but not so far outside of your comfort zone that you're delusional, that you have an impossible chance of actually following through. You want to dial it back just short of that. So you've got to recognize and implement the power of incremental change over time. And what I mean by that is this: by taking baby steps, you can make huge progress towards a really big goal. Jeff Galloway talks about this when he talks about running and getting from the couch to a 5K or to a half marathon or to a full marathon. And he uses a methodology that he explains as the run-walk method, where you run for a minute and then walk for a minute, and run for a minute and walk for a minute. It's something that's achievable by almost anyone, and therefore it's realistic. Now, let me give you an example of a bad goal that's not realistic, especially for me. Qualify for the PGA Tour as a golfer. If you've been golfing with me or if you've seen my golf game, you know why that's a crazy goal. But a better one would be to lower my golf handicap by, say, 4 strokes. You know, that's something that's more realistic, certainly more realistic than making the PGA Tour. Then the 5th criteria is SMART goals are time-bound. In other words, they have a deadline. So instead of just saying I want to lose 20 pounds sometime, losing 20 pounds by December the 31st puts a deadline on it. It gives it a sense of urgency, and it makes it much more probable that you'll actually accomplish it. Practice number 3, share your goals selectively. I'm going to tell you, I didn't always teach this. I used to teach that you should share your goals with anyone who would listen. I published mine on my blog. But according to research that was done by Derek Sievers of CD Baby in a TED Talk that he gave, when you share your goals like that with everybody, it actually makes them less likely to happen. Now, the crazy thing is that conversely, that study I cited earlier by Gail Matthews, she demonstrates that people who write down their goals and share them with supportive friends do better than those who keep them private. So how do we reconcile these two apparently contradictory statements? I'll tell you, we share them selectively with people who support us, with people who are willing to hold us accountable, but not indiscriminately. Practice number 4, review your goals regularly. Now I want to suggest that you do this at least once a week, perhaps in your weekly review. It's even better if you can do it daily. The reason why is that as you review your goals, your mind is going to be stimulated as to the actions you need to take to make them real and to bring them into fruition. I would also suggest that you recruit an accountability partner, somebody that you can share with, somebody that cares about you, is willing to support you, and hold you accountable. And so that's one of the best ways to review your goals on a regular basis. Now let's move into the juice of this lesson, which is the action plan. Again, as I said before, if you don't do the action plan, you're really missing the best benefit of this course, which is to take what we've learned and actually put it into practice. So I want you to take out your study guide, take out your pen, and I want you to write the answer to 4 questions. Ready? Number 1, write down 7 to 10 goals. I would say no more than 10, probably fewer than 7. That's okay, but I would shoot for 7 to 10. But using the SMART acronym: specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and time-bound. Number 2, make sure you include non-career related goals. One of the things that I find is people are more used to setting goals in their career, less used to setting goals in their non-career aspects of their life. And yet, those areas are important too. You'd hate to get to the end of your life, have accomplished your career goals, lost your family, lost your health, lost your connection to your community. So you gotta set goals in those areas as well. Number 3, I would encourage you to identify one push goal. This is a term that Chalene Johnson uses in her book, Push. But the idea is that there's one goal that if you actually accomplished it, would make the other goals fall like dominoes. For me last year, it was getting my book on the New York Times bestseller list. I knew if that happened, I would be able to get the speaking engagements I wanted, I would be able to get the invitations I wanted. It would open all kinds of doors and make it easier for me to accomplish the other goals. So identify, one push goal. And then number 4, review and make sure your goals are personally compelling. If these don't compel you, you're not going to have what it takes to keep going when the time gets tough and get through that messy middle. So be honest with yourself. Are these goals personally compelling? Well, congratulations. You're more than halfway there. Hopefully you're beginning to feel the energy about this next year and the promise that it could bring. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the secret that will enable you to get started and keep going when things get tough. We'll see you then for day 4.
I'm ready to make a change.
I want to make more money.
I want to get healthy.
I want to start a business.
I want to spend more time with my family.